Could you
Similarly, a
explain
red
the
herring
spot
in your
fee?
estimation that Coinbase hasn't taken a fee for the wallet service since April of 2023. Do you believe that if we were just to think about the wallet function today, is the fact that Coinbase is not today charging anything for it make it any less or implicate any less the securities laws?
No, Your Honor. The Commission is entitled to bring enforcement actions for historical and ongoing violations. We've essentially brought them.
No, I'm sorry. I appreciate. I'll ask a better question.
Okay, Your Honor.
When they were charging a fee for wallet, it was easier for you to say that there's somehow some violation because not only are they performing these services that you believe transcend a technical interface, but they're charging something for it. Right now, today, they're not charging something for it. Is it still violative, or does it still implicate the securities laws? And if so, what specific part of wallet implicates the securities laws?
Okay, Your Honor. It is, putting aside the transaction-based compensation, it is still a violation. Gel Direct and Hansen and other cases tell us that there are multiple factors, of which transaction-based compensation is one, but not a mandatory or required one. We have alleged several other factors in our complaint, including active solicitation of investors, the routing of orders, and the giving of advice for the reasons that I identified in my prior answer, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. One moment, please.
I think what Coinbase is doing is taking an established technology and building an enterprise on top of it. We're going to create an investment program based on that, and we're going to use our technical expertise, repair them, collect the coins, and distribute investment returns. They provide all the infrastructure, they retain third parties, they operate the validators to ensure greater odds of success so that investors will actually earn the rewards that Coinbase is marketing.
So you just said they operate the validators? May I understand what you mean by that?
They operate the validators at the nodes of the respective blockchain protocols. And so here again, not unlike with wallet, Your Honor, Coinbase, because its efforts are technical, they cannot therefore be managerial or entrepreneurial, and the case law does not support that.
Well, I mean, you're both fighting over what is ministerial and what is managerial. So one of the reasons I'm asking you what it is Coinbase is doing is to figure out what it is you're upset about. But the second thing is what the things that you're describing them as doing. I want to know, do you define all of those as managerial, as distinguished from ministerial? I suspect as well that this is another case where you're going to tell me that irrespective of all the briefing on the issue and the differing conceptions, that differing conception simply means that at this stage of the game, I can't dismiss the claim. It's for me to understand what precisely Coinbase is doing that you're upset about, as to what acts Coinbase is doing, what it is you think they're doing.
And you can put your assets to work, not to validate transactions or provide some other consumptive use, but to earn returns on your investment. Give up their funds, Coinbase pools them and uses them through their, managerial efforts. And the case law does not support Coinbase's view. I understand Coinbase now is pulling back on everything it marketed that its staking program would do. Staking on your own is complicated and costly, they said. Coinbase will do all of that for you. That is an investment
right,
contract.
right? I mean, they're
absolutely.
Right. Okay.
There are economic barriers that prevent certain people from doing exactly what Coinbase is providing. Same thing in Gary Plastic. There's an underlying bank issuing a CD, and Merrill Lynch creates an investment program where it undertakes efforts to promote the program and create a secondary market. And then Edwards and Rivera, which I've mentioned also, provide potentially seemingly ministerial things, but they are managerial efforts in furtherance of the enterprise, requiring no efforts from the investor to generate the returns that they marketed. That is, under Howey, an investment contract. That is the economic reality, as we've alleged, of what's happening here.
Well, I guess I have two follow-ups to that, and the first is whether the parties are in agreement as to the specific services that Coinbase is providing, and then secondly, whether one can fairly denote those services as ministerial or managerial. I guess among these issues, there are claims by Coinbase that the investors never actually lose their assets, that they're always retaining custody. And I think in this regard, to me, it sounded, for example, this is very low tech, but the asset holder does not give up its ownership of the asset, and they say there's no real risk of loss. Are you disagreeing with them? Are you suggesting that there's a disagreement that however it works out, I can't decide it at this stage, or something else?
Well, I'm disagreeing with them, Your Honor, in that giving up legal ownership is not required. SEC v. Edwards tells us that. The investors who purchased the payphones that were essential to the enterprise were promised a refund of their capital. The Coinbase's citation to its user agreement about owners do not give up investors do not give up legal ownership, it's just irrelevant. And there are risks, and Coinbase tries to and we put this in the brief, Your Honor, so I won't go into it too much, but Coinbase is reading into the investment of money prong of Howey requirements that simply do not exist. If there is a risk that is inherent to the enterprise, like a cybersecurity incident or theft or loss of private keys or Coinbase failed, that risk matters.
Is that your argument?
Well, Coinbase admits in its answer that it could happen. It just says it hasn't happened, and we provide a limited indemnity.
Yes.
The risk exists, and that's enough.
What if they had a full indemnity? Is that no longer an issue then? Have you lost that argument?
No, it's still an issue under Edwards because they are guaranteed their money back.